2024 Pirelli Emilia Romagna round gets underway with a flying start from Remy Gardner from third on the grid. Good jump as well from Alvaro Bautista. Challenges to the inside line into turn one. He's already alongside teammate Nicolo Bulliger, who's got swallowed up in it. Bautista and Bulliger still scrapping it out over third position. Decent launch initially from Andrea Iannone. He's up to P6. Locatelli also coming through on Alex Lowe's, who's down to 7th, with Sam Lowe's now for company in.
Oh! That could be Jonathan Ray maybe in the background. It looked like a blue bike.
I think it might well have been Jonathan Ray, who has gone tumbling out of this race at high speed on the opening lap. The latest in a catalogue of misfortunes for the former world champion at the start of this 2024 campaign.
Yeah, and you can see here with Bulliger, he's a little bit wide. Is that going to leave him a little bit vulnerable from Locatelli behind him? But at the front of the field, Remy Gardner riding with so much confidence as well. We saw him through those right-handers at the end of the lap, really using every inch of the racetrack.
Locatelli around the outside of Nicolo Bulliger at turn 2, and the pair almost connected. Locatelli was far faster coming off the final turn at the end of the opening lap. Jonathan Ray walking away from an incident in the very early stages. We won't get to see what the climb might have looked like for him. Meanwhile, back at the front, Alex Lowe's makes his way through as well on Nicolo Bulliger, and this would have been Bulliger's biggest concern. As well as you want to qualify, if you find yourself getting banged out of the way in the early stages, down to 6th position here for Bulliger, trying to recover against Alex Lowe's, and for the moment doing so successfully, you put yourself back from the podium trio who are starting to escape away, look.
Yeah, exactly, and once you're starting to battle with each other, that's whenever the likes of Bautista and Toprak are always able to take advantage of their
Gardner, Toprak, Razgat, on the attack.
Let's just remember about Remy Gardner, though, a Moto2 world champion, a rider that was able to make the difference in a series that was all basically about being on the same package with the Calex bike back then. So for Remy Gardner, we know how good of a rider he is. He also knows how to win races and world championships, so he's not going to be fazed by having Toprak chase them down.
He passes up the race from Toprak. Razgat takes the lead of race 1 of this 2024 Pirelli Emilia Romagna round.
And let's see what Toprak's pace is now, and if Remy's able to go with him. Like I said, comfortable in the first few laps for Remy, and now's the point of the race where you have to start being able to go with those riders. But it has been really promising for Remy. Front row of the grid, leaving those early laps, but at the end of the day, he's not the first rider that's going to be attacked by Toprak into turn 8 and come up second best. This is the key overtaking opportunity all the way through the race here. This is where we're going to see all the moves. So for Toprak to be able to make that move, it is one of the positions where if you can get your bike down the inside, you immediately take that high ground. So an easy move.
It's Bulliger who looks the most racy at the moment of the two riders now behind Toprak. Razgat and in his wake. Bulliger has been hounding Alvaro Bautista, but thus far not finding a way through. Of course, identical packages for those two, so it's not really straightforward. Bautista might well need to make an error for Bulliger to force his way through. Bautista, meanwhile, starting to build up his pace. New personal best lap last time around from Bautista to close down Remy Gardner, and he needs to clear him quickly because Razgat is clearing off at the head of the field. 6/10 of a second already clear of Remy Gardner.
Yeah, you can see their new fastest lap of the race for Bulliger, and that's why he's putting the pressure on Bautista. But both of the Aruba Ducati riders struggled in yesterday's free practice sessions with a lack of feeling on the front of the bike in the heavier braking zones and in the initial phase of the corner. They've been able to make step-by-step progress through the course of yesterday afternoon and into today, and for Bulliger, this is where the bike is at least starting to give him the opportunities. But Alvaro Bautista there, a little bit hot on the run through the mid-corner there. That might leave him a little bit vulnerable. Turn 8's a very strange corner because you can go into it fast, but then it means you come out of it slow, or you can be vice versa.
Yeah, we saw the alternative racing lines through Quecha when we took the overhead shot, didn't we? A variety of different lines available through there. We're now into the penultimate sector of this lap number 5 through Cremona, the high-speed turn there, with Bautista still shadowing Remy Gardner for this second position. 3 riders in the mix there. Bulliger though runs wide. Bulliger's off the circuit altogether. That's going to cost him dearly. He has been hassling and harrying his teammate Alvaro Bautista for the last couple of laps. He's lost plenty of ground there, something like 6/10 of a second in one small error.
Yeah, and we'll see what the difference is as they come across the line. The good news for him is that Alvaro is falling up a little bit behind Remy Gardner, and Remy's still able to put in 1 minute 34s. Last time around, though, it was back into the low 34s there for Remy, so he's still got the same pace as the riders around him.
And we suspect that Alvaro Bautista could run this kind of pace quite deep into the race. While everyone else's tyre life might do later on is a different matter, but we know Bautista can afford to play the long game.
Alvaro can run this pace all day. That's what we've been able to see over the years here at Misano, but we've seen it where he's out in front able to run that pace. It's a different story whenever you're in the middle of a battle, and also if you're behind a rider in front, maybe the tyre temperature goes up as well because you don't have that clear air in front of you. It's 30 degrees here at Misano, so it is very warm, so if you're behind a rider, it's always going to be that little bit more difficult for the tyres.
And while Bautista is bottled up behind Remy Gardner, Nicola Bulliger has far more pace than his teammate, already starting to make up ground. 3/10 of a second pulled back on Alvaro Bautista already. Bautista sees this as the opportunity to make the move. He is going to have to be very forceful. That is a classic block pass there from Alvaro Bautista. Can Gardner immediately respond? The answer is no. The acceleration now towards Carbone for Alvaro Bautista, and Nicola Bulliger again making his move there through turn 11. So Bulliger's perfected something quite unique there, and Gardner suddenly finds himself in a matter of 3 turns going back from second to fourth.
Yeah, we've seen that Bulliger and Bautista have been the fastest riders through the speed trap. That's just before the entry to turn 11 all the way through this weekend, so just able to use that extra bit of top speed, and the exit from turn 10 is what sets that up, and the acceleration out of it. So
and Dominic Oates, we saw that in spectacular fashion. Still the gap around about a second between Nicola Bulliger and Alvaro Bautista. Last lap though, Bautista pulled in 3/10 of a second, and Bautista does seem to be making a little bit of ground on Nicola Bulliger in the final sector, so we'll see what he does here on lap 15.
Yeah, you can see Toprak's pace and consistency here, pretty much the mid to low 34s. That's the kind of times that you have to run here at Misano. Last time around Toprak at 34.6, that was actually cancelled for track limits exceeding, and he's had that a few times during the race, and that is something that we do have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, most relevant in terms of the fastest lap, of course. Toprak Razgatlioglu bested in that metric by Nicola Bulliger, 1 minute 33.920 from him on lap number 6, through on Bautista, and now 1.3 seconds ahead of Bautista. So Bulliger digging in once again on that last lap round. Is Toprak, who's got this race under control at 1.8 clear of Nicola Bulliger.
Yeah, he's got this race under control, and the battle right now is the Locatelli-Lowe's scrap, because that's down to half a second. Lowe's 10 seconds faster than Locatelli last time around as well, so that's where the real scrap is out on track right now, unless any of these front runners make a mistake.
Nicola Bulliger, Alvaro Bautista in third, 5 seconds back. That's Andrea Locatelli, Alex Lowe, scraps 7/10 between them, and then gaps them over a second to the next riders, all the way down to outside of the top 10, where Bassani is scrapping with Lecuona over the last of those top 10 places, and Tito Rabat now promoted up to 12th place by Stan Rose's incident.
Yeah, and for Bassani in the 10th spot, with that new contract having been signed and a good Super Bowl effort, he's been able to give himself a chance of a decent haul of points.
Yeah, and again, not qualifying well enough to do too much more than that, is he? But a little bit of a better Super Bowl result. We can really see him. He made the progress on the opening lap, but then faded. Here is Axel Bassani sitting in 10th position, only at 2/10 of a second now clear of Ilkka Lecuona. So it does look as though Lecuona could get himself up into the top 10 places. That's been a scarcity. Well, frankly, it's been a scarcity that he's been able to complete a weekend, let alone to pick up top 10 finishes. Just a few points on the board for him thus far.
Yeah, in the heat like this, the Kawasaki has tended to struggle in the past to maintain its tyre life, and Bassani looks like he's struggling with that as well, and Lecuona should be able to make a move and get himself through with 5 laps to go.
13th place in race 1 of the Catalunya round, the only soaring finish for Ilkka Lecuona this season thus far. Axel Bassani running inside the top 10 places for the moment at least. A better Super Bowl, but perhaps not as high up the order as he might have hoped or anticipated, and now he looks very vulnerable indeed to the chasing Honda. The number 7 Ilkka Lecuona, well clear of teammate Xavi Vierke, all the way down in 18th. Bit of a role reversal. We've tended to see Vierke the superior of the two in performance the last year or so. Here is Lecuona then, right on the tail of Axel Bassani. It's a race down the order for 10th position. Lecuona should theoretically have the faster bike in a straight line. The Honda does punch pretty well through the speed traps, but Bassani defending well for the moment at least.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to hold them off in the run down the back straight into turn 10, into turn 11, because that's where you would expect to see the Honda able to take advantage of its strengths.
Oh, they almost touched the pair of them. Lecuona ghosting a move down the inside line. Axel Bassani holds track position in P10, and Bassani weaving his way through to just make sure he covers off that line. It's going to have to be into turn 14 then perhaps for Ilkka Lecuona. Axel Bassani on the brakes, you can see Lecuona trying to close him down into turn 14, the slowest corner on the circuit. Bassani slides his way in. This is all for 10th position, remember, but it's a good reminder that in World SBK these are the scraps we see right the way through the field.
Yeah, all the way down the order. There's something at stake for everyone, and space in the top 10 it would be a good reward for Lecuona after a very tough start to the season, considering that he's had those 2 rounds where he wasn't able to take part.
Ilkka Lecuona missing the races in Assen last time out with a knee injury sustained in practice, versus Axel Bassani, who still holds firmly on to that 10th place. We know Axel Bassani gives absolutely nothing away, and with 4 laps to go, he will say, well, do you know what, I think I'm capable of defending for 4 laps. Lecuona, of course, has other ideas.
Yeah, Lecuona, he can spot that top 10 spot, and he's been putting the pressure on here on Bassani for a lap and a half, and Bassani hasn't made a mistake yet.
Sam Lowe's back in his pit box, just debriefing on that spill, pushing as hard as he could to remain ahead of what is now the fight a little bit further back, further ahead of these two. Michael van der Mark trying to close down Andrea Iannone. The gap though still pretty stagnant at 1.1 seconds. 1.7 back from Van der Mark is Danilo Petrucci, then 3 seconds back at this fight between Axel Bassani and Ika Lekuona. This time Lekuona is almost alongside Bassani, will still not yield. Closes the door. Lekuona, though, has already got 1 foot through. That's the door jam. Well and truly burst the jar by Ika Lekuona. Bassani knows he's got to hit back straight away because Lekuona has the faster bike, and unless he makes his move into turn 14 here, which Bassani might think about a recovery, then I think Lekuona should escape away. We'll see if Bassani does jump back down the inside. The answer to that is no. Lekuona is clear for P10.
Yeah, Lekuona able to defend that position, and good job there by the number 7 to be able to do that, because for Bassani, he would have known turn 14, I have to give myself a chance to attack into there, but Lekuona able to scoop across the front of him, so good riding for the number 7 day 10.
For the moment at least.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to hold them off in the run down the back straight into turn 10, into turn 11, because that's where you would expect to see the Honda able to take advantage of its strengths.
Oh, they almost touched the pair of them. Lekuona ghosting a move down the inside line. Axel Bassani holds track position in P10, and Bassani weaving his way through to just make sure he covers off that line. It's going to have to be into turn 14 then perhaps for Ika Lekuona. Axel Bassani on the brakes, you can see. Lekuona trying to close him down into turn 14, the slowest corner on the circuit. Bassani slides his way in. This is all for 10th position, remember, but it's a good reminder that in World SBK, these are the scraps we see right the way through the field.
Yeah, all the way down the order. There's something at stake for everyone, and facing the top 10 it would be a good reward for Lekuona after a very tough start to the season, considering that he's had those 2 rounds where he wasn't able to take part.
Ika Lekuona missing the races in Assen last time out with a knee injury sustained in practice. Up versus Axel Bassani, who still holds firmly onto that 10th place. We know Axel Bassani gives absolutely nothing away, and with 4 laps to go, he will say, well, do you know what, I think I'm capable of defending for 4 laps. Lekuona, of course, has other ideas.
Yeah, Lekuona, he can spot that top 10 spot, and he's been putting the pressure on here on Bassani for a lap and a half, and Bassani hasn't made a mistake yet.
Tamlo's back in his pit box, just debriefing on that spill, pushing as hard as he could to remain ahead of what is now the fight a little bit further back, but further ahead of these two. Michael Van der Mark trying to close, but it's not consistently making up enough ground, I don't think. But I've said that before and been wrong, haven't I, about a BMW, so we'll give him a chance on these final 2 laps.
Well, on the last sector there, Van der Mark's made a small mistake, and that's actually given an extra half a second to Iannone, so that does look like it is going to be the battle done, and Van der Mark with just under a second and a half there to try and make up.
And Lotus also dropped back ground in the second half of that last lap, so 9/10 of a second now. His gap to Andrea Locatelli in 4th position. Does look like all the places now have stabilised. In fact, the latest split, everyone right the way down to 17th and 18th position is covered by at least 1 second, one rider to the next.
Yeah, you can see into the top rack side of the BMW pit box there as well, and a few worried faces, but I'd imagine that's just the accountants department there for Mark Bongers that's been on the phone to him, because they've got a ride where Alvaro Bautista has been so strong over the last few years. Top rack just brings that confidence to a team, and he's got a lap to go after this one, and he just looks so composed on the bike. Even when the bike moves around as much as it does underneath him, he's the rider that makes the difference.
Yes, you've got to hope that when they were setting the win bonuses, they were more optimistic of Top Rack's chances than many up and down this paddock, because he was moving to winner in race 1 of the Emilia Romagna round to take the championship lead for BMW for the first time in over a decade. Top Rack Razgatlioglu dominates the first race of the weekend in Misano, 1.8 seconds ahead of Nicolo Bulliger at the checkered flag, and his main title rival Alvaro Bautista relegated to 3rd, relegated to 2nd in the series standings. Razgatlioglu leads us with a 3-point advantage.
And for Top Rack, he's still got the Super Bowl race tomorrow and race 2, and he has been the man to beat all the way through this weekend. Obviously,